So I guess we will start with, again, as usual, with the motivations. And for that, first try to make yourself comfortable, relax as much as possible. And try to quiet your mind, calm your mind by watching the breath. And then we can try to cultivate and generate good intention by thinking, contemplating. If we observe our own experiences throughout the day, weeks, months, and years in life, we experience a lot of unhappy mind and suffering due to our own negative emotions, feelings. Due to our own delusions, defilements. And all those defilements and delusions are very much rooted in the fundamental ignorance. As long as we have the ignorance, those afflictive emotions will arise. As long as those defilement and afflictive emotion arises, we will continue to experience dissatisfaction, unhappy, and suffering. So the key is to overcome that. The key to overcome all the defilements completely, permanently, is to overcome the very root of those defilements, the fundamental ignorance. And to destroy and eliminate that fundamental ignorance, we need to cultivate the soul of wisdom, realizing the emptiness or ultimate reality. And for that, we need to meditate, contemplate, reflect, study, as well as continue to purify obstacles or inner obstacles, and continue to create right conducive conditions. So we have to apply all those different practices together. As part of those practice, we have come here together, gather to study together, so that we can have maybe more deeper understanding, more profound understanding, maybe correct understanding, or to be reminded of some of those important practices. So may us coming together become cause and condition to actualize the wisdom, realize the ultimate truth, as well as relative bodhicitta within one's own mind stream and all sentient beings. May it be cause and condition to obtain fully awakened state, so we can be greatest help and benefit to each and every sentient beings according to the needs of different individuals. Okay. To the founder, the endowed, transcended destroyer, the one gone beyond the four destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme guide for human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcended destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subdued from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offering, and go for refuge. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all three ever devout, homage to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all rams, atoms in all aspects, with the supreme faith, I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of Buddha. A star, a visual aberrations, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see condition, things as such. Through this merit, may sentient beings attain the rank of all things, subdue the four of falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the wave of aging, sickness, and death. I prostrate to the archetypal gem. Thus did I hear one time that Bhagavan was dwelling on the mass of vultures mountain in Rasgiriha together with a great community of monks and great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan observed in the concentration of the categories of phenomena called profound perceptions. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara look upon the very practice of profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara: how should any son of the lineage train who wish to practice the activities of profound perfection and wisdom? He said then, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wish to practice the activities of profound perfection and wisdom should look Upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregate also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factor, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, no division, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and fact. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattva rely on dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscurations and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awakened and unsurprisable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurprised mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of perfection of wisdom is declared, Dayata Om Gade Gade Paragat. Parasamgata Bodhi Soha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokeshwara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that. It is like once you practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated, even the Tathagata rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharitati Putra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokeshwara, and those surrounded in their entirety along the world of God, human, Asura, and Gandhavas were overjoyed with highly praise that spoken by the Bhagavan. Next one. Sashibeke Chonshimeto Tanriralingshi Ninde Gembade Sangye Shindu Mide Oai Dokun Namada Shin Je Parasho Itam Guru Rana Mandala Kaniyatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create to listen to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient. Sangye Chodan Soge Sonam Chanchu Padu Dane Kapsa Lagi Chuje Gibe Sonam Dola Penche Sangye Duba Sangye Chodan Soge Sonam Chanchu Padu Dane Lagi Chuje Gibe Sonam Dola Penche Sangye Duba. So up to last week, we kind of completed in terms of presenting the selfless person and selfless phenomena, the selfless persons. And within that, at the end, at the end of that, there was the explanations of correct way to understand or unmistaken understanding of appearance like illusions. And within that, at the end, Je Tsongkhapa kind of summarize, and again, I just wanted to kind of remind a little bit again, or refresh, where Je Tsongkhapa says, when we meditate, first we try to meditate on the emptiness, refuting through reasoning and logic and investigations, refuting the inherent existing of the self, of the persons, by using many different reasoning logics. And so, and we try to do again and again many times on this meditation on this emptiness. The meditation on emptiness many times, again and again. And once you have done that meditation on emptiness through reason and logic, when you come to a conclusion that is absolutely empty of inherently or truly existent through that kind of reasoning and logic, then, without any kind of further investigation, you try to stay in that state of emptiness as much as possible, Then, when you come out of that meditation on emptiness, then allow, the appearance, whatever appearance that arise in our mind, in our sense consciousness, our mental consciousness, whatever that arise towards our mind, and then see, experience that arising of those are not just just not our mental imaginations, but these are things that appear due to certain cause, conditions, factors, and it has their individual functionings, and also, that those appearance, effect us, some of them affect us in a negative way, that produce suffering. Some of them affect us in a positive way, that produce joy, happiness. So, and these are our direct experience, and that is something we cannot deny, our direct experience. And that those our direct experience and those appearance, and those appearance, there's not only this appearance, but there is a functioning of each of those appearance or those objects. And then, once you allow that to manifest and watch it, then you begin to see that they are like illusions. Even though they are empty of the way it appears to our mind as inherently existence, but still they appear and they affect us and they have functionings. And so therefore, we cannot deny that. And therefore, it's like illusions, just like, when we watch magicians creating a magic through many, trick, cause, and conditions, So whatever appear to our minds, even though there is no real horse that is created by magicians, even though there is no real horse that appear to our mind, even though it is empty of real horse. So while we understand the empty of that real horse there, from that side, from there, but at the same time, there is a magician horse. There is a magician horse. Even though there's no real horse, but there is a magician horse that is created by many causes and conditions, and that has certain functioning, even though it doesn't have function of real horse, but it has functioning of magical horse. And that magical horse affect those who are watching it. You know, for some kind of amaze, for some, you know, maybe, happy, some them fearful, whatever, you know, those different effect that has. And so therefore, even though there's no real horse, but still there's a magician horse that effect, and we cannot deny that. And so then we understand is a magician horse is like illusions. And so same like then we apply that same to all other phenomena and understand that they all are like that. So, and as Lama Tsongkhapa explained, you know, once we have the really direct realization of emptiness, and when we are deep meditations on emptiness, and when we come out of that deep meditations, everything naturally appear as illusions, like a dream, like illusions. But for us at the very beginner, it doesn't appear naturally as even when you try to meditate on emptiness, when you come out of that meditative state, things doesn't appear naturally as an illusion, like a dream, but we have to remind ourselves through reminding ourselves, even though how things appear real, but they are not as real as it appears to our mind. And so through that, we train by seeing them like illusions. So in the meditations, we try to meditate on emptiness. And then when we come out of meditations, then when we see, then we try to remind ourselves everything is like illusions. And through that understanding, by applying that understanding that everything is like illusion, like a dream, then we engage in all other virtues. The practice of all other profound. So we bring that wisdom in the practice of all other practice of method, whether the practice of generosity, morality, patience, prostration, and other practice that support those practices, such as prostration, accumulation, merit, and so forth. So we try to bring that, and so in that way, then whatever practice we do, then the practice become much more effective, meaningful. And each of those practices become cause to enlightenment, cause for liberations, because it is supported by the wisdom. And so the practice become much more profound. So I think, again, I just wanted to kind of refresh that, because I feel that is a kind of the important summary of the previous chapter. After we went through all that, many phases and a lot of discussions, kind of Lama Tsongkhapa at the end, kind of summarizing of that. So I think even we cannot remember everything, but if we can remember the summary of that, and then we try to apply that, then that will be helpful, beneficial. So I think I just wanted to kind of, again, I thought it was important. So I think for those who have the PDF, we are on page 247, and where it says, determining the selflessness of phenomena. And those who have the books, I think, what is the page number? 367. And where it says selflessness of the phenomena. Actually, it's the first time I have been reading the book, because I just got last week. And actually, I do see the books, the translations is better, even though some terms that he have used in the previous one, the first one, and then some of the term he used here, I kind of seems to like the term that you use in the book better. But I'm still wanting, because most of you might have had PDF still. So when we talk about certain persons and phenomena, you know, we are talking about the object, and so before we talk about certain person, Lama Tsongkhapa explained what the person is, and then here, before we explain the subtleness of phenomena, then Lama Tsongkhapa kind of, what is that phenomena that we're talking about, the emptiness or subtleness of that phenomena. So therefore, that way it says, such as, the basis of designation of persons, the five aggregates are the phenomena here, and 6 elements, so I don't think I need to go five aggregates, the aggregate of form, feelings, discrimination, mind, compositional factors, and consciousness, and 6 elements, such as earth element, water element, fire element, wind element, space element, consciousness element. Sometimes when it's 5, then we kind of exclude the consciousness. When we say 4, then we exclude not only the consciousness, also the space. So sometimes you see 4 elements, sometimes you see 5 elements. When on top of the 4, when you add the space element, then when you say 6, then on top of that, then you add the consciousness, then that becomes 6 elements, such as earth element, and 6 sense fields, such as eye, the 6 sense faculties, eye sense faculty, ear, nose, bodily and phenomena sense faculties. Those 6 faculties are phenomena. So those are the phenomena when we talk about. This is just giving some of the examples, but of course, all other phenomena that is not the persons are the phenomena here. This is just kind of, it doesn't include all the phenomena here, because then, such as, permanent phenomena is not included here, but that is also a phenomena as well, so that will come later as well. And so then when you talk about the selflessness or the emptiness of inherent existence of those phenomena, then that is the emptiness of or selfness of the phenomena. So that is where we refer. And so then when it is presented, the selflessness of phenomena, the selfness of the phenomena can be understood through the reasoning and logics that we have used to the persons, okay? Understanding of selfness of phenomena or emptiness of phenomena by using the same reasoning and logic that we use when we are refuting inherent existence of the self, of the persons. So that is one. So in that we went through some of the reasoning, like at least 3 different reasons that it was presented. And through that, we can use that. And then here another reasons that has not been explained before. When the selfness of persons presented, it was not presented there. But here, Lama Tsongkhapa, he is going to again present here another reason, logic. And that is the reason and logic of dependent arisings. Okay, that has not been presented when it was presented substance of person, but here, so that is the two different means of refuting the inherent existence by using different reasonings. some of the reasons which are already explained before, and another reason that which are not been explained before, that which Lama Tsongkhapa is going to explain now in here. So that is. So, and within the phenomena that has been described just now, such as 5 aggregates, 6 elements, and 6 sense faculty, and so forth, there is among them, there is physical phenomena and there is non-physical phenomena. That is the conscious phenomena, okay? Whether we talk about within the aggregates, there's form aggregate, which is physical phenomena, and those other 4 are non-physical phenomena, which are part of consciousness phenomena. And that will be same with the, 6 elements, there are some of the 4 elements are the physical form phenomena, and the consciousness and the space is non-physical phenomena, and then same with the senses. So among there is that. So when we analyze with this reason like we did before, that explained, when you analyze and investigate, so in terms of physical phenomena, each of those physical phenomena has its parts, its different parts. And, so if we take a example of the computer, there is, of course, there is the screen, there is a different engines, many different parts, the stand, and the wire, and then inside many different parts. Not only that, even within the screen, then there is different part of directional, eastern, the screen of south, west, east, and then in between, so all of that. So so when we analyze, if the computer is inherent in existence, then same way it has to be either inherently one with its parts, or it has to be separate from its parts. And so then if it is one with its parts, then there are many problems that it has described before, such as there's just like there are many parts, then one computer becomes many computers because they are inherently one. And just as there is only one computer, then there will be only one part, and there wouldn't be not many parts. If they are, and then many other reasons. And if they are separate, if they are inherently separate, then there wouldn't be any connections and relations between the parts and the computer itself. And if there's no relations, and if something goes wrong with its parts, then it shouldn't affect the computer itself, because there's no relations. And so connections. So if the wire is eaten by the mice, still the computer should be running as usual. It shouldn't affect that. Or if the battery run out, or chips, something happened with the chips, it shouldn't affect the computer. It should continue, because they are totally unrelated. And so there is that problem. So many problems. Therefore, the computer is neither one with it's inherently one with the part, neither it is inherently separate from the art. Therefore, therefore it can't be inherent existence. So using the same reasoning and logic that we use with the persons before, and second, in terms of the consciousness, which are non-physical phenomena, such as, or even the space, even the space, because that was consciousness. Again, in terms of the space, again, when we talk about space, we are talking about one particular space, whether we talk about the space in this room, whether we talk about the space in the cup, or that we talk about whatever space, still that space, the space in the cup or the space in the room is made of many parts of the space, different directional sides and so forth. And so again, so whether it's one with each of them, if it is then there will be too much space within that. And if it is, so neither is one, neither is, if it is one, inherently existing one, there will be problems. If it's inherently separate, there will be problem. Therefore, if it's not inherently one and separate from its part, then it can't be inherently existent. Therefore, it's empty of inherent existence. And same with consciousness. Here, Lama Tsongkhapa explained, in consciousness, when we talk of consciousness, even we talk about one particular consciousness, we can talk about, whatever consciousness. Let's say the consciousness perceiving the computer now, my eye consciousness that's perceiving the computer. Take one example of that consciousness. Even that one moment of my eye consciousness that's perceiving the computer is made of many moments. Is made of many moments, So again, my eye consciousness that's perceiving the computer, is it inherently one with each of the many moments that make that one consciousness? If it's that, then in that one moment, there will be too many eye consciousness perceiving the computer. Or just as there's one eye consciousness perceiving the computer in one moment, then there wouldn't be too many moments in that one consciousness. There will be only one moment. So therefore, it can't be inherently existence, one with its many moments, its parts. If it's separate from that, if it's separate from those moments, of those many moments, then when there is then each of those moments will be unrelated. And without, if they're unrelated, then many moments that make one consciousness, each of those moments should be able to function as that eye consciousness, but they cannot without depending on many other moments. And so therefore it can't be separate from that. So if it's separate, then there is problems. And so therefore is neither inherently one, neither inherently separate from those consciousness, the consciousness from its part. And therefore, also the consciousness are empty of inherently truly existence. So using that reasons here within the phenomena, same reason that we use with the persons, is using same. And through that, we come to understand and realizes, that. So I think if there's still no clarity, and if you still have some difficulty, please ask me now or later. Okay, you can raise or send a chat. I think, with the external phenomena, I think it's a little bit easier. I think when it comes to consciousness, it becomes a little bit more difficult to do that that analysis for a lot, And the way I try to, when I contemplate on that and try to use my own kind of mind to kind of a little bit that, and to personally, what helped me is, for example, the mind is like the mirror. Okay, the mind is like the mirror. Okay, And of course, the object of the object to be perceived by the consciousness is the objects there, like the reflections of the object in the mirror. Okay. So when the mirror is breaking into many pieces, okay, because that mirror is made out of many pieces put together. When it breaks into many pieces, then the object cannot reflect in each of those pieces separately. Would we? You know, if I have a small piece, I have a one mirror that can reflect this computer now. I can see the whole computer. But now my mirror is broken in many pieces. And one small pieces I show to the computer, and the computer cannot completely reflect in that mirror. For that object to reflect completely, the complete object into that, it needs all of that, the whole mirror that can reflect in that. So when you take each of those parts of the mirror, then you don't have the mirror doesn't have the capacity or ability to reflect the object fully in that. Are we clear? Same way, our mind is made of many, like those mirror, many moments. One consciousness is made of many moments. And when you take each of those moments, then the object cannot reflect in that one moment of the consciousness without depending on all the consciousness coming together, like all the parts of the mirror coming together. And so therefore, you know, when all the piece of the just a mirror has the ability to reflect the object, same as when many moments of that consciousness come together, then it has the potentials or the ability to perceive the objects, just like the reflections. But with each of those moments doesn't have the ability or potential to perceive the whatever object that is perceiving. So I think, I don't know whether that helps, that example and using that, whether it helps or not, but to me personally, sometimes using that examples, you know, because also I used to have little difficulty with the consciousness, you know, and so I keep on thinking, and then suddenly, you know, when you keep on contemplating, thinking, and then sometimes you get certain examples comes in your mind that suits and fit your minds to clear some of those the difficulty that you might have. And that was one of the things personally for me that helped to clear a little bit of that in terms of the consciousness. So again, I just wanted to kind of share that. And not only that, we, you know, even all the the school of thought, it is where when you come to consciousness there. And so here Lama Tsongkhapa is saying that is the meaning of sutra stated, quoted earlier, you know, and again quoting here, just as you know the perception of self, apply it to everything mentally. So once you have understanding of emptiness of the persons or selfless persons, by using certain reasoning and logic, you use that same reasoning logic to all other phenomena. And when you use that same reasoning and logic to investigate, to analyze all other phenomena, then you will be able to realize the emptiness or selflessness of also other phenomena easily. And again, as it had mentioned, I think once you have realization of emptiness of one object, then you don't have to, put so much effort in, again, same analysis, same meditation, going details and deeply, just by reason, oh, this is also like that. This is also like that. Computer is also like that. Light is also like that. Oh, the book is also like that. And so just by that, being able to apply that, then you will have a understanding of emptiness or realization of emptiness of all phenomena in that way. So, so then Lama Tsongkhapa now here coming, he is going to explain a different reason and logic that has been, that refute inherent existence that has not been explained before, So then that is the logical reasoning or proof of interdependent, interconnectedness, dependent arising, dependent originations, however you call it, different way. And so first, it has 2 points, presenting the reasoning of dependent arisings, what is dependent arisings and the reason of that. And secondly, once you establish all the compounded phenomena or impermanent phenomena or conditioned phenomena being empty of inherently existing or truly existing through the reasoning of dependent arisings, then you can also establish the uncompounded or unconditioned phenomena as also empty of inherently existing or truly existing by the same reasoning of the dependent arisings. And so again, within the phenomena, so after the person presented, then there is a presentation of selflessness of phenomena. Within that, first presenting selflessness or conditioned phenomena, condition or compounded phenomena, then presenting with same reasoning, then presenting the emptiness of uncompounded or unconditioned phenomena. Okay, and then when you are presented the emptiness of compounded and uncompounded phenomena, then all phenomena are included. Then there is no other phenomena that is not included. There's no other phenomena that is not included within the compounded and uncompounded phenomena, or in other words, conditioned or unconditioned phenomena. And so therefore, once you present that, then all phenomena are included. Even you don't go individually one by one, but all phenomena will be able to establish through that, because they all include in either compounded or uncompounded phenomena. So within the presenting the logical reasoning of dependent arisings, so here Lama Tsongkhapa explained from the 10 different points, or different in terms of it's first starting with the quotations, citations or quotation sources. So where do you find it? In terms of sutras, in the Buddha's sutras, and you find in many sutras, in many sutras. But here, one example giving the sutra requested by Sagaramati, where it says, those which originate interdependently do not exist by way of their intended or intrinsic nature. So in these sutras, Buddha explained any phenomena, any objects, any phenomena that is dependent arising, that dependent originations, is empty of inherently or truly existence. So all phenomena and all objects are empty of inherently existing or intrinsically nature because they are dependent arising. Because they are dependent arisings. The reasoning is because they are dependent arising. Something that is dependent arising cannot be inherent existence. Something that is dependent arising cannot be truly existence. Something that is dependent arising cannot be independent existence, existing by its own intrinsic nature, by its own power. So that is where, in terms of, here the sign, I think, in our I think in the PDF that has been shared, the PDF that has been shared, it says, inherent activity clearly refuted by the sign of dependent arising. Here the sign, I think the translation, I think, is where is by reason of dependent arising, or logic, reason or by logic of dependent arisings, So when you say sign, sometimes it gets a little bit confusions, the translation. But I think in the book, I think it gives some little bit difference. I think I don't. Yeah, here it says clearly refuted with the reason of dependent arising. So I think I like that translation a little bit better because of that. So yeah. So then in another sutra requested by Naga king, Anavata Tapta, it also, whatever is born from its condition not born. If you look that, then it seems a little bit contradictions, isn't it? Whatever is born from condition is not born. Do you see it? When you just read that part, it looks like there's a contradiction. Whatever's been born by conditions here say it's not born. And it is not born by the way of entity. So then explaining when it is saying not born, what does that mean? Because there seems to be a contradiction. In one case, you seems to indicate that is born by conditions. Then you say there's not born. So here you say the meaning of not born is then given next here, is not born by way of its entity, by its own intrinsic nature or by inherently. Whatever dependent on conditions said to be empty. So whatever dependent on conditions, other factors, is empty. So when here again, when you say empty, we are not talking about nothingness. We are talking about empty of inherent existence, empty or independent existence. So whatever dependent on conditions said to be empty. Whoever realizes emptiness is consciousness. And so whoever realizes the emptiness, will be more aware, careful with their actions. Whoever understands the emptiness, unmistaken emptiness. If someone has wrong understanding emptiness, then they will be careless. Do you get it? Then there's nothing, I can do anything. There's no consequences of my actions. Because nothing, it is empty, nothing exists. There is nothing. When you have misunderstanding of emptiness, you can become very unconscious, careless, and of your behavior, your actions. But someone who realizes emptiness correctly, because while it is empty of truly or inherent existence, but at the same time, there's the functioning of cause and effect. And because of that, then because there's functioning of cause and effect, therefore, if you engage in a certain cause, it will lead you to sufferings. And it brings suffering to yourself, others. If you engage in certain action, then that would lead you to happiness, yourself and others. And with that understanding, so then you will be more careful with your actions, And so that is, and this is said frequently in precious scripture. So here Je Tsongkhapa says, such many quotations like that Of course, Lama Je Tsongkhapa is just giving only just 2 quotations here. But there are so many other quotations from the precious sutras that you find that's described, that Buddha described, how, that those which any phenomena objects that are dependent arisings are empty of truly inherent existence. And so that is described many. So then Lama Tsongkhapa explained the meaning. I think I kind of already explained it, so when in that, when it is not born, when in that sutra, when it refute being produced or being born, it is not refuting being born or being produced, depending on cause and condition. But what is refuting is refuting inherently existing being born and inherently existing being produced. So we have to understand that. And you find that very often in many of the sutras, where you say there's no production, there's no productions, and what is cessations, opposite of that. What is the opposite of product?
It might be that they say unceased.
Unceased? No, it is something product and then opposite of that. Born and dead. Born and dead is one way of looking at that. Coming into existence and then coming into existence, and then what would be the opposite? Coming into non-existent, I don't know. But you see, I cannot put the exact English word, but like born and dead, coming into existence and disintegrating, coming to end. So you find those many that in many sutras and scriptures. And so when Buddha said that, then we have to understand he's not talking about there is no coming into existence, or there is no born, and there's no productions, or he's not talking about there's no end to that, there's no disintegrations, that there's no coming non-existent. But what he's talking when all that, he's talking about non-inherent existence, all of that we have to understand. And also very sutta that we recited before our classes, for example, Ha Sutra, in emptiness, there's no eye, no ear, no nose, and all the no suffering, no origination, no path. If there's no suffering, if there's no path, there's no point of studying. There's no point of meditating. There's no point of studying. So he's not referring to that. So, but what he's referring when he said that there's no inherent existing, no inherently existence, suffering, origination, path, and cessation, and so forth, So I think so it is same here. So we have to explain, we have to keep in, that is why commentaries are needed. Because in sutra, sometimes there's no clarity of giving those clarity, And then people they just read, and then Buddha said there's no nose, no eye, so they think there's nothing. And then that leads to misunderstanding of the emptiness. And instead of helping you to free from the samsara, it leads you to more samsara, So then in descent to the Langa Sutra, again, Lama Tsongkhapa, it is that is quoted in Chandrakiri's clear words, it says, thinking of there not being born inherently, I said all phenomena are unborn. So here, Buddha explaining or giving a commentary to his own word, Buddha is giving commentary to his own word or giving the intent of what he said, because he thought people can misunderstand it, what he said, if he doesn't clarify it, if he didn't clarify it. So he said, he has said in many teachings, so in many sutras, all phenomena are unborn, okay? He has said that, but he knew that for some people, he has concern that some people can misunderstand that and think that there's nothing that is to be born. There's nothing that come to end. And so in order to clarify that, so they don't have that misunderstanding. So then in that sutra, he cleared by saying, thinking of their not being born inherently, that is why I said that. The reason, when I said the unborn, unceased, what I'm saying is non-inherently existing, unborn, non-inherently existing, unceased. That is when even within the sutta itself, Buddha already clarified a little bit, in some sutra, in that, at least in that sutra, So therefore, in those statements that you find in sutra is not refuting, negating all kind of birth, all kind of being born, all kind of being produced. Is only refuting inherently existing birth. Inherently existing birth. So that is so there, as Lama Tsongkhapa, the teacher himself, the Buddha himself, took the thought of the sutra, where he said all phenomena are unborn, and explained the meaning to be, what the meaning of unborn here, to be non-existent inherently birth, inherently existing birth. So, so then the third lines says that depending on reliance on condition and meaning of being empty established by its way of its own entity. So that is the third line is talking about the request sutra from the Naga King or Anabata, where it says whatever depends on condition is said to be empty. So that line, he's talking about that line. In that sutra, there's 4 lines. So he's explaining about the after having explained the first and second line, so he's explaining this line, whatever dependent condition said to be empty. So that is where that line. So in that line, what Lama Tsongkhapa is saying is, the meaning of emptiness of inherently existing, or the meaning of emptiness, the meaning of empty of inherently existing, or the meaning of empty of instinctively existence, means depending on other conditions. In a way, there are the emptiness, the meaning of emptiness dependent arising, the meaning of dependent arising emptiness. Okay? Equal. The dependent arising and emptiness equal. The dependent arising emptiness equal emptiness, emptiness equal dependent arisings. So again, I think when we understand that, then we will not fall to any of the extreme view. When we understand emptiness equal dependent arisings, and dependent arising equal emptiness. The meaning of emptiness is dependent arising. The meaning of dependent arising is emptiness. And when you say emptiness, we're talking about emptiness of inherent existence, of truly existence. So, so that is where this indicates the emptiness of inherently establishment in the meaning of dependent arisings. Whereas emptiness of performing, functioning, that would negate mere birth is not. When Whereas when we talk of emptiness, that negate the performing of the functionings and the birth, that is not true meaning of the emptiness. That is not the correct understanding of emptiness. When you negate the merely label birth, merely label existence, okay? So that is where clearly, and also in Nagarjuna's, root text on wisdom, it says, that which arises independent is inherently pacified or inherently empty. Pacified here means is empty of inherent existence. So again, if you go back to the Buddha Sutras, and if you go back to the earliest commentaries such as Nagarjuna, you find clearly in their writing, very clear in their writing, that they explains when they explain about emptiness, that doesn't mean there's nothing, but it means it's a dependent arising. It means that it's not independent existence. And again, as I might have mentioned before, when you don't read whole scriptures or many scriptures, and if you just read one sutra or one chapter from one sutra, or one writing, one author such as Nagarjuna, and if you don't read all his other writings, then you might get confused. You might have a misunderstanding. And that is when a lot of modern scholars, earlier modern Western scholars, when they were reading Nagarjuna's root text on the wisdom, they thought he was nihilism. His view was nihilism. He's negating everything. But they haven't read whole chapter closely. They miss some of the verses like this one, where he explained the emptiness, the meaning of emptiness is dependent arising. They miss that part, because in his wisdom chapter, most time he's negating. But there you find time to time where he's, when he's explaining the emptiness here as a meaning of dependent arising. And then when you read his other writings, also Lama Tsongkhapa will quote some of them from his writing, the praise to Dhammadhatus, and then Changju Semde, the commentary to the Bodhicitta, and so on. And then there is more explanation of that, how everything's dependent arisings. Therefore, how everything is dependent arising, how everything is emptiness. Therefore, emptiness equal dependent arising equal emptiness. And if something is dependent arising, how can that be non-existence? Dependent arising cannot be non-existence. But when you don't read all of his, then sometimes you just read some part, and then there can be a misunderstanding of that. And as much as we like to just as we like to just study one text and doesn't have to spend so much time reading so many texts, reading so many commentaries, but just by one text, sometimes it cannot clarify everything, and we could have a lot of misunderstanding, and that is why all that, So here, I think Lama Tsongkhapa explained a little bit of what I just explained. Lama Tsongkhapa just explained that here. That where the people misunderstanding the Madhyamika systems, refute, non-arising, no birth, no end, no ceasings, you know, where they have misunderstanding of that is being cleared away by when you have understanding the meaning of emptiness is dependent arising. When you talk about dependent arising, you are not refuting, you are not, when you say dependent arising, you are not refuting arising and birth coming to existence, but actually you are establishing that there is arising, existing, productions, all of that due to many causes and conditions. So, so yeah. But when you don't understand that, then there is problem. When you don't understand emptiness, understanding meaning of the emptiness as a dependent arising, then there is that danger, misunderstanding. The Madhyamika system is refuting all of that, So that kind of reasoning, reasoning of dependent arisings, the logic of dependent arising is praised in many sutras, commentaries by all these great masters, and it is called the king of the reasonings, or king of the logics. Of course, there are many different reasoning, many different logics, many different analyses to refute inherent existence, self and phenomena. But among many of different reasoning and different logics, among different reason and different logic, the reasoning and logic of dependent arising to prove that, or to refute that inherent existence, or to prove no phenomena exists, inherent existence, that is the king, known as the king of the reasoning and logics, because with one that reason, it clear both extremes, which Lama Tsongkhapa will come again on that issue a little bit. So that logic in me praised very much, and in Sutra requested by the Naga king, Anavatapta, experts realize Dharma or phenomena, because in Tibetan, Che can be different meanings. It can be, the spiritual Dharma, when we talk about spiritual practice, Dharma, or it's just any phenomena. So, logic, realize Dharma, arise, the wise one realize all phenomena arise in dependence on other conditions, Therefore, they don't rely on extreme views. So once you have understanding of emptiness from the point of view of dependent arisings, then you will not fall into any of the extreme views, any of the wrong extreme views, So the extreme views, of course, there could be many extreme views, but the main two extreme views, is the extreme view of permanence, or viewing inherently existence, superimposing, into the object, even though there is no inherent existence into the object, but your mind superimpose inherent existence. And so that kind of view, or the other view is the other extreme view of annihilations, that nothing exists, denial of the functioning of cause and effect, the functioning of relative realities, so that is those two extremes. So you will be clear, and that meaning is, said in commentary to the Middle Way by Chandrakirtis, since things arise in utter mutual dependence, those conceptions cannot be imputed. And through this reasoning of dependent arising, net of all bad views or wrong views is therefore cut and clear, so as it explained. And so here Lama Tsongkhapa said, this is unexiled, how you call excellent, exile,
unexcelled.
Unexcelled, extinct future of Mahatma or the great Nagarjuna, the father, that is the spiritual father, Nagarjuna, and his spiritual son, Aryadeva. That is why among various reasons, I will describe the dependent arising here. So even though there are so many different reasons and logics that Nagarjuna and other great masters and Buddha has explained, but Lama Tsongkhapa is going to explain here, particularly the reasoning of dependent arising, because it is such a powerful, unparalleled reasoning and logic to have a correct understanding of emptiness that can clear the wrong views or the extreme views immediately. And so then there is no way for us to have a going to the nihilism. Once we have understanding of emptiness from the point of view or dependent arising, there's no way that we will become nihilisms that rejects the karma, the law of cause and effect, the functioning of conventional and relative phenomena. So we will not fall in that. But if we don't have realizations of emptiness from dependent arising point of view, there's a danger. There is a danger to fall into that. You do that analysis and then you come to non-finding through that kind of analysis, and then you think there's nothing. There's no person, because you cannot find. When you root that kind of reasoning logic that has described some of the reason listener described, you do that kind of reason and then you cannot find and pinpoint the person, then you might think there is no persons. Then you cannot find a computer, then with that kind of reasoning logic within its basis and its parts, then you think there is no computer, and so on with all aggregate. And so there is a danger of falling in nihilisms. And so one of the extremes. So, and therefore that is where Lama Tsongkhapa is going to explain more details and more time on here, this particular reason here. So in order to have a correct realization of emptiness, in order to have an unmistaken correct realization of emptiness, there's two obstacles, two inner obstacles, two wrong views, two wrong conceptions. And so we have to clear those two wrong conceptions, two wrong views, those two obstacles to have the correct and unmistaken realization on emptiness. And so among those two wrong views, or conception is the view of permanence and superimposition, which has a referent object aim as apprehension true exists, apprehending phenomena as truly existence, So that is one wrong conception or wrong views. When you superimpose inherent existence to the objects, when there is no really truly, when there's no, even though there is no inherent existence within the object, but our mind or conceptions superimpose in that and then believe there is inherent existence. That is a wrong view. And sometimes it's also called permanent, because once you have the imputing someone as inherent existing, then there is sense of permanently grasping as permanently as when you have truly existence in that way. And then other wrong view and misconceptions, that is an obstacle to have correct realization of emptiness, unmistaken realization. The second one is the view of annihilations. Annihilations or deprecations, you know. The measure of object negation cannot be delimited and become excessive. So when we analyze, you know, we have to, Lama Tsongkhapa also explained that earlier as well. We have to know the measure of how, and also not only Lama Tsongkhapa, Nagarjuna, we cannot do the same analysis to conventional phenomena. We cannot do the same analysis of ultimate analysis that we do to when we analyze ultimately existing or not to the conventional. Then it will cut the conventional phenomena, and then you will not be able to establish the conventional phenomena. And so therefore, you know, Chandrakirti says, you know, I will not debate with the ordinary beings or ordinaries. But here, when he says ordinary beings, he's talking about the conventional, ordinary conventional mind. If you debate with that, then you will not be able to establish conventional phenomena. And so that is when you do too excessive analyze, then you cannot establish that something exists, even though it doesn't inherently exist, but it exists conventionally or relative. You will not be able to establish it if you do too excessive, and then you come to say there's nothing exists. So that is the one of the. So that is one. Thereby you become nihilism. Your mind becomes nihilism. Then it becomes impossible to induce a certain or dependent arising cause and effect in one system that there is no way of identifying that something this is and this is not. If nothing exists, then you cannot say this is this and that is that. And so you cannot identify that. So I think I will kind of, I think maybe we will kind of stop here. If any questions, I will questions for a couple of minutes. If there is anyone.
Geshe, so taking this into meditation, are we simply in meditation contemplating these ideas over and over and over again? Is that the basic approach? You know, we take one, you know, one idea and just continue to work over that while in meditation.
Yes, I think while we are trying to meditate on emptiness, we try to bring all different reasoning logics that we have learned, that we have studied, especially those reasoning logic that make more sensible to you and which are more powerful and effective to you. So you use that reasoning logics. You know, certain reasoning logic for certain people, you know, they cannot connect so strongly as with some other reasoning logics. For certain people's, certain reason and logics, certain way of investigating, certain way of analyzing, among many of that are more powerful, more effective to individuals because of whatever, you know, whether it's their previous imprint, because of their way of thinking, their way of analyzing their, so I think we try to use whatever are more powerful for oneself, use those reasonings and logics. And of course, sometimes more reason logic, it make us more certain with the how that is not just with one reason and one logic, but many reason and logic. It's just like, you know, when you are trying to solve some misunderstanding or misinformation, the more proof there is why you are mistaken, the more evidence, the more proof you are, the more confident you will become, more you become, oh, I was mistaken, it was misinformed. The more you have that, the more it will convince you to understand that. So more reasoning, more logic, good, but especially using those who are more strong to ourselves. And then through that kind of meditations, we come to conclusion, absolutely there's no inherent existence, because with all this investigation, analyzing reason laws. And once you have that, come to that kind of empty, very strong feeling, there's no truly existence at all, inherent existence, then you try to remain in that. I think probably Lama Tsongkhapa will come also later. Then you try to remain in that state without analyzing anymore, in that experience, that emptiness, experiencing that emptiness, And then again, after some time, then our mind is not strong in that state, again, our mind might be kind of wavering it and kind of being loose. Then again, you restart the same analyze meditation, and then you come to that same understanding, same conclusions, and again, stay in that emptiness, experience that emptiness as much as you can experience for as long as you can, until it's still strong, still strong. Again, you do that, is you repeat that and again. So again, as I mentioned, and Lama Tsongkhapa also said, and also, you see in some of the instruction on how to meditate on emptiness by the disciple Lama Tsongkhapa, Kedru Rinpoche, and Kedru Rinpoche in his writings, and as well as some of the masters, also some of my teachers also. When you meditate, first you try to meditate more on the emptiness part, even though we should also meditate on dependent arising part as well, so that we don't fall into one of the other streams. But at the very beginning, we try to more meditate on the emptiness part, because the danger to us is most time we don't think there's no object, Most time we don't think there's no object. We don't have that too much danger of falling nihilism. Everything, I think, when I say computer, I don't think there's no computer. I don't think there is no book. There is no, But the danger is most time when I say computer, I see is inherent existing computer. When I see the book, I see it inherent existing book. When I see the light, I see inherent existing light. When I see you, I see inherent existing metal. When I see myself, I see inherent. So that is the most stronger misconceptions or wrong view or ignorance that we have, And so we need to kind of destroy that. And to destroy that, the emptiness meditation is powerful to destroy that. And so we do that, but at the same time, of course, also at the end of that meditation on emptiness, then you try to meditate on, even though they are empty of inherent existence, because when you do that, analyze it, they cannot withstand those analyses. Therefore, they are not inherently ultimately existent. At the same time, we cannot also ignore and refuse our data experience when we come in contact with those objects, how it affects us and that. So there is something there. There is something there. And therefore, how things exist by depending on many other cause, condition, factors. So then you think of dependent arisings. So you think on the dependent arisings, and so that is, you do that meditations, and whether you are on the cushions or whether you are wherever, you try to contemplate that, contemplating that way all the time. And of course, if you feel that we are in danger of falling to nihilism, then we emphasize on dependent arisings. We think more on dependent arisings, that part. If there is once we started to come to where there you feel like there's nothing and kind of there's danger of falling nihilism, then you focus more, you meditate more on dependent arisings. But when that is not the danger, then I think we try to meditate on the emptiness part more. And then of course you can rotate between them as well, So it is like a, two sides of one coin, So when you understand each side, you understand the coin better, So when you understand both, then you understand the reality of the phenomena better. Okay. So I think maybe we will thank you. We will have the break here today because also I need to go to airport to pick up someone. One of my friend, he's also Geshe from Kopan. That I've known from Kopan, and then he also went to Sera, and I know him from Sera. And so I've known him for a long time from both Kopan and Sera. He's in Nepal. He lives in Nepal, and there is another city where we have a Rumbut Lama Sopa has a center there, so he's in charge of the center. Also, he teaches there as well. So he had never been outside of Nepal and India. So someone invited him to come here. So he was visiting. So I also asked him to come here. And so he's arriving. So I have to go and pick him up as well. So, okay, so we do the dedications. Gyawadi nyoto da lama sangye do gyone do wa chi gyama le pa te sa la pwe ba sho. May the Supreme Jewel Bodhisattva that has not arisen, arise and grow. And may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Maybe we would a long life prayer. The wish granting, wish fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparable contents of Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Tubtu changshin jamgan kyawe ten zin jompe we kunso to koroze choson kowe le ma tuju pa da so du je kundu shapten sho. Venerable One, to you whose kindness exists that of all conqueror, for those wanderers in far off places, especially always mindful of your loving concern for us in intentionally descending again into a family of far distant land, and we make this request, O Lama, please live long. Thank you very much, and thank you. Now, yeah, someone has sent me arising and extinctions. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, the opposite of arising or born, extinctions. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Geshe.
Thank you.